Excess aldosterone, in aldosterone, whenever there is excess aldosterone, it will lead to higher hydrogen secretion. So if you can understand, there is higher hydrogen secretion means the bicarbonate in the blood also will of course increase, because as the hydrogen is secreted, the bicarbonate will get reabsorbed, so it will cause alkalosis. So whenever there is higher aldosterone, it will lead to higher alkalosis in patients. So higher aldosterone is mainly seen in a Conn syndrome. And next, in alkalosis. In alkalosis, usually the hydrogen secretion is low. So when the hydrogen secretion is low, even the bicarbonate reabsorption will be low. So the factors which stimulate the sodium reabsorption are whenever there is decrease in extracellular fluid volume, then it will lead to higher hydrogen ion secretion. So if higher hydrogen ion secretion, higher bicarbonate reabsorption by cells. So in increase angiotensin 2, if there is higher angiotensin 2, that will lead to higher sodium hydrogen exchanger. So that you can understand, if higher sodium hydrogen exchanger means more hydrogen is secreted. If more hydrogen is secreted, it will lead to higher bicarbonate reabsorption, lead to alkalosis. And higher, again of course, if higher hydrogen secretion, it will cause alkalosis due to higher bicarbonate reabsorption. And hypokalemia will stimulate the hydrogen secretion. Remember, whenever there is low potassium, it will stimulate hydrogen secretion. So when there is hydrogen secretion, of course, you can understand, cause alkalosis. So whenever there is hyperkalemia, means higher potassium in the blood, it will decrease the hydrogen secretion, so that it will lead to acidosis. So in acidosis, there is higher bicarbonate reabsorption. In alkalosis, there is low bicarbonate reabsorption. So renal correction of acidosis. So why in acidosis higher bicarbonate reabsorption? Because we need to decrease acidosis. Whereas why in alkalosis there is low bicarbonate reabsorption? Because already it's alkaline, so we need to decrease the bicarbonate reabsorption. So renal correction of acidosis. So how we can correct it? If there is acidosis, we need to increase higher excretion of hydrogen ion and addition of bicarbonate to the extracellular fluid. Whenever there is renal correction of alkalosis, means decreased tubular secretion of hydrogen ion, means nothing but increase in excretion of bicarbonate, because alkalosis. So it will lead to higher ratio of bicarbonate hydrogen ion in renal tubular fluid. So now let us see what are some of the clinical causes of acid-base disorders. So in respiratory acidosis, in which cases it may lead? Like in medulla center problem, in medulla we have respiratory center. So if the respiratory center is affected, you can understand it will lead to acidosis, because especially the carbon dioxide cannot get out from the body. And obstruction by pneumonia, emphysema, so all these conditions the carbon dioxide cannot get out. Cause of respiratory acidosis is obstruction by pneumonia. Whenever there is pneumonia or emphysema, its surface area is decreased, so that there is no chance of carbon dioxide expired from our body, so it leads to accumulation of carbon dioxide. So accumulation of carbon dioxide for sure will lead to respiratory acidosis. So the reason here in pneumonia and emphysema is decrease in pulmonary surface. And next, in respiratory alkalosis, the causes may be psychoneurosis or high altitude. So high altitude is actually a physiological cause, whereas psychoneurosis is a pathological cause. So whatever the cause, you can understand here, if you go to high altitude, the partial pressure of oxygen will decrease, and also as the pressure of the oxygen which is entering in your body is decreasing, it leads to respiratory alkalosis, because the carbon dioxide, you will do hyperventilate. Whenever there is low oxygen in your body, the person tries to hyperventilate. So because of hyperventilation, lot of carbon dioxide will be getting out from the body, so that will lead to decrease in carbon dioxide, in turn leading to respiratory alkalosis. And metabolic acidosis, examples are like kidney failure, or whenever there is higher increase in acids in body. So kidney failure, actually, when the kidney fails, the lot of bicarbonate will be losing from the kidney, so the bicarbonate will not get reabsorbed. So because of this, it will lead to acidosis, because a lot of bicarbonate loss and hydrogen ions will be accumulated. And even whenever you take more amounts of acid, by any means acids in the body are increased. And renal tubular acidosis. So renal tubular acidosis is because there is no hydrogen secretion and there is also no bicarbonate reabsorption. As no hydrogen secretion, no bicarbonate reabsorption, more hydrogen is accumulated in the body. This will lead to renal tubular acidosis. The causes of this renal tubular acidosis are chronic renal failure, and also in Addison's disease, there is decreased aldosterone. Whenever there is decreased aldosterone, means there is no hydrogen secretion. So whenever there is no hydrogen secretion, there is no bicarbonate reabsorption. So because of this, it will lead to acidosis. And we also have Fanconi syndrome. Here also there is acidosis. And in diarrhea also, you will lose lot of sodium bicarbonates in the feces or urine. So because of this also, it may lead to acidosis. Vomiting of intestinal contents, and if you vomit intestinal contents, the bicarbonate is lost, leading to acidosis. Diabetes mellitus also, they have low insulin and higher acids are produced here. Ingestion of acids, like if you take aspirin, methyl alcohol, and even chronic renal failure lead to acid buildup. So these are all the different causes where the metabolic acidosis may take place. And let us see the metabolic alkalosis causes. So administration of diuretics. So if you take diuretics, it will lead to alkalosis because in diuretic lot of ions are lost, increase in flow, increase in reabsorption of sodium and hydrogen, sodium, and also there is higher hydrogen ion secretion. So if there is higher hydrogen secretion, means most of the hydrogen ion is getting lost into the urine, and higher bicarbonate reabsorption also. So because of this, there is leading to metabolic alkalosis. So hydrogen is losing more, and at the same time there is a lot of bicarbonate reabsorption. So because of this, it is leading to alkalosis. And excess aldosterone. So whenever there is higher aldosterone, it will lead to higher sodium reabsorption. This will in turn also lead to higher reabsorption of bicarbonate and increase the flow. And vomiting of gastric contents, like loss of HCl, which is mainly seen in neonates with pyloric stenosis, which is caused by hypertrophy of pyloric sphincter. So whenever there is hypertrophy of pyloric sphincter, what happens, the contents can't move further into the small intestine. So because of this, the gastric contents are vomited out. So when a gastric content is vomited out, it has a lot of HCl, so this will also be gone. So this condition is mainly seen in newborn neonates. Next, ingestion of alkaline drugs like sodium bicarbonate for the treatment of gastritis. Gastritis, inflammation in gastric mucosa. So to prevent this, we will give sodium bicarbonate. So this will also lead to alkalosis, and also for peptic ulcer we give this bicarbonates because we need to decrease acidic nature in the body. So these all in turn will lead to again metabolic alkalosis. Now let us see what is the treatment of acidosis or alkalosis. So actually sodium bicarbonate is treatment for acidosis because you can see that acids are built up in the body. So to prevent that, we'll give sodium bicarbonate, which increase the pH to normal. It can be also given intravenously. Others like sodium lactate, sodium gluconate also can be given. For alkalosis, like ammonium chloride by mouth is also given, and ammonium is converted by liver into urea. It liberates mainly HCl, which reacts with buffer of the body to shift the hydrogen concentration in acid direction. So you can see actually here, by giving this ammonium, it is converted into urea in the liver. Later it liberates the HCl. So because of this, you can see how by giving a ammonium chloride, it leads to acidosis. So because of this, it will maintain the acidosis in the body. The mouth so reacts with buffer of body to shift the hydrogen concentration in acidic direction. You can also give ammonium chloride, which is infused intravenously, but the ammonium is highly toxic and dangerous, so we should be careful to give only correct dosage. And the treatment should be appropriate repletion of volume by infusion of isotonic saline solution is often beneficial in correcting alkalosis. So to correct alkalosis, you can also give normal saline, right? And the proper diagnosis, of course, as we will give this treatment, before treatment we need to have proper diagnosis. If you have proper diagnosis, only we have a chance to give the best treatment. So the proper diagnosis is required by arterial blood sample, pH, plasma, bicarbonate concentration, and also we need to check the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So whenever the pH is lower than 7.4, it indicates acidosis, of course. Whenever the pH is higher than 7.4, it indicates alkalosis. So the plasma, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and bicarbonate concentration should be diagnosed before we do the treatment. So in the case of acidosis, we can see that the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is very high, whereas the pH is low. After compensation, the plasma bicarbonate concentration increases to prevent this. And in alkalosis, beginning we'll see higher pH and lower partial pressure of carbon dioxide and higher bicarbonate. After compensation, we'll see there will be higher partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Sometimes there are cases like mixed acidosis. So in mixed acidosis, we will see higher amount of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, lower pH. So you can see higher carbon dioxide, lower pH and lower bicarbonate. So this lower bicarbonate is mainly due to loss by diarrhea and metabolic acidosis, and it is also associated with like emphysema in the case of respiratory disorders in lung. And nomogram gives a shaded area which where acid indicates acid base disturbances, whereas outside the shaded area there is mixed acid base disorders. So next, anion gap is used to diagnose the acid base disorders. The concentration of anions and cations in plasma must be equal to maintain the neutrality. So no renal anion gap in plasma. Normal measured cation sodium, normal anion is chlorine and bicarbonate. So difference between anion and measured anion and unmeasured cation gives us this value. The plasma anion gap is equal to sodium minus bicarbonate minus chlorine. If we do this, we'll get 144 minus 24 minus 108, we'll get the value as 12. So whenever the anion gap increases, if unmeasured anions rise or unmeasured cations fall. Most important unmeasured cation include calcium, magnesium, potassium. Most unmeasured anions include albumin, phosphate, sulfate, organic anions. So whenever the unmeasured anions is always greater than the unmeasured cations. The anion gap may range between 8 and 16. Anion gap mainly used in diagnosing different causes of metabolic acidosis, and also plasma bicarbonate levels are low. The plasma sodium concentration is unchanged. The concentration of anions unmeasured increases to maintain the neutrality. If plasma chlorine increase in proportion to fall in plasma bicarbonate, anion gap remain normal. So it is referred as hyperchoremic metabolic acidosis. So whenever the low plasma bicarbonate is low, it is not accompanied by increase in chlorine, increase in unmeasured anions, and therefore increased calculated anion gap. So the metabolic acidosis is mainly caused by whenever there is higher increase in non-volatile acids besides HCl like lactic acid or lactoacids associated with increase in plasma anion gap, because the fall in bicarbonate is not matched by equal increase in chlorine. By measuring anion gap, one can narrow the sum of potential causes of metabolic acidosis. So this anion gap is nothing but it's mainly used to know the metabolic acidosis. So if there is a shaded area, it represents that there are some acid-base disorders. But around that shaded area, if there are disorders, it says it's a mixed acid-base disorders. So this will complete our acid-base regulation.